today is the third meeting between these two programs. Kyle, they met a season ago. That matchup was not all too close.
It wasn't very close, and for Carolina, all those players are going to remember that. TCU, this is the first time they've played the Tar Heels, but at TCU last year, playing in the home and home, and yeah, Carolina had control of that one early, ran away with it. Not the case so far today here in Chapel Hill, though.
Carolina a 27-6 edge in that fourth quarter. But today, Courtney Banghardt's squad in a bit of trouble early. The Horned Frogs a 2-point advantage as we open things up in the second quarter.
For Carolina, went completely cold on the offensive side of the ball, didn't score a field goal for the last 5+ minutes, and turned it over 4 times during that span, too. That was the biggest thing.
Emily Fisher, a tough finish. Yeah, you mentioned the turnovers. Both of these teams with 5 turnovers in that opening quarter.
A little bit of a smaller lineup for Courtney Banghardt and the Tar Heels to start things off in the second.
And another missed 3. Carolina settling for some triples against this 2-3 zone. 13-2 run for the Horned Frogs, looking to add to that. Knocks into the rebound.
Now, Carolina had a couple of early offensive rebounds that they immediately turned into points. Since then, TCU's done a really good job of boxing out, limiting the Tar Heels to 1 opportunity each time down the court.
Kelly, nice bounce pass is knocked away, and it's TCU basketball. Turnover number 6 for the Heels. So what have you seen so far from TCU that you've liked?
I like the way they've been able to, like I just said, box out Carolina, limit the offensive chances, and then be efficient on the other end, even in transition, finding that open shooter, collapse the defense, and work it around.
Great ball movement. Fisher, the step over as it knocked away, and it's Todd Williams who lofts it over the head of Destiny Adams. A 7th turnover for UNC.
When TCU has gotten in trouble is when they've passed up that open shot and tried to take the extra dribble. Take the shot if it's there.
Gets Godfrey now with 26 points against Lipscomb in her TCU debut. Here's Fisher, the American transfer, and she walked with it.
Really good defense there by the freshman Paris, but also some great help defense by Carolina's bigs. I think that was Zelaya who stepped in, forced Fisher to take the extra. It was Adams, and then you saw Todd Williams. All of them helping the freshmen out there on defense. Great team D by the Tar Heels.
Well, this team was phenomenal defensively a season ago. Held opponents to just 56 points per game. Looking to keep that trend going in 22-23.
And I think that's where you see a lot of the really good teams. If you're going to be a Sweet 16 or better team, you've got to start on the defensive side of things and then let the offense pick you up. But the defense can be there every game. Shots falling, that can alter one way or another.
Talk about defense. The defense has been there all game so far for TCU. Another block inside. This time, Getz getting into the action. They continue to limit Carolina, who's shooting just 26% from the field.
I think part of it for TCU is having veterans, the transfers. They understand that. It's not the freshman mentality of come in and basketball is all about scoring. Yeah, you got to put it in. You got to stop the other team too.
Oh, nice move inside. Kelly, little flip shot, no. Zelaya there, and it'll head the other direction.
Great job of getting to the basket, but Carolina unable to finish down there in the paint here recently. Referees are letting them play through some contact. Shot altered. Good defense there by Cravens. Went straight up.
Godfrey. Cravens, the Nebraska transfer, and a bit of a lazy pass, backcourt violation. Reagan Peebley talked so much in our call earlier this week about just we have to be careful with our room for error, because against a team like Carolina, who, as she put it, they're focused on March, we cannot afford to make mistakes.
And she's 100% right. They've been very lucky and fortunate in this one that Carolina has made just as many mistakes as they have, each team with 8 turnovers.
Let's send it courtside to Natalie Bodie.
Yeah, guys, Coach mentioned how they had little room for error in this matchup. She said that because of her veteran lineup, she knew they were going to have to play clean, but that UNC looked like a team that was firmly focused on March, and she knew it'd be a tough opponent and they'd have to rise to the occasion.
Thanks, Natalie. And so far, listen, there have been mistakes. They have comped it up 8 times, but 6:43 to go in the second quarter. They have a 4-point lead. They'll take that.
Ultimately, that's what you're looking at, right?
Right.
Scoreboard is what determines whether you get a win or a loss at the end of this one.
Bella Cravens whistled for that last personal. She now has 2 fouls. Second team foul of this second quarter for the Horned Frogs. TCU had a rough season last year. They're looking to win a first Power 5 road game since March 4th of 2021. And near the midway point of the second quarter, they have a little bit of a cushion as Paris steps into one. That is a freshman, folks, a true freshman.
I like that, the use of the glass.
You don't see that nowadays very often, right?
You really don't. It's all about shooting it from beyond the arc and nothing but net. That's what you want to see, but I love the fundamentals there.
Another shot off the backboard, this time off the mark from Bradley. And it heads down to Carolina on the foul. I remember my grandpa would always say, shoot it off the backboard, get the right angle, and it'll go in.
Yeah, I mean, there's the... It's not geometry. I was not good at math.
It is geometry,
Yeah,
I think,
geometry.
right?
See, like I said, I wasn't good at math, but, you know, your mind knows how to work it. Hit
Listen,
that box, you're good to go.
We're broadcasters. We're not mathematicians.
A little bit of lapse on defense there from TCU. Miscommunication, and they didn't rotate around. Adams left open for the easy bucket.
Her first point of the game for Destiny Adams, the sophomore from New Jersey. Top 20 recruit in her class of 2021. And TCU's offensive struggles have reared its head once again. Scoreless in the last 4 minutes. Godfrey looking to snap the spell. Nifty spin. And this shot ripped down by Kelly.
Really impressed by the defense by Paris, the freshman.
Kelly, nice look. Poole is fouled. And she'll head to the stripe for 2.
Great job in transition. Poole got really deep set up. Kelly kept downhill so that she never let the defense get set, able to get down low and find her. Look at that, feet down inside the charge circle. As a defender, you're helpless there.
Anya Poole is 1 for 2 from the stripe. She already has 5 rebounds in 10 minutes today. A chance to give Carolina its first lead since 1:54 to go in the first quarter. Poole, who started every game last season. Her nickname is Lasagna. Anya Lasagna.
Heard worse nicknames.
And once again, Poole splits in the pair. Carolina back in front, first time since the latter portions of the opening quarter. TCU 0 for its last 5 from the field. Taiwo. Fisher looks to go to work on the freshman Paris.
See, offensively, nobody down in the paint for TCU. It makes it really difficult offensively when all 5 players are around the perimeter.
And a steal leads to a foul. It's Kanisha Godfrey with the personal.
Don't necessarily need a post player, but you at least need somebody to show, get some movement through that zone and try and get a switch on the defense.
Well, you see the steal right there, and Courtney Banghart talks so much in her call about defensive positioning, getting in passing lanes, forcing turnovers, and not just turnovers, but steals. They had 16 steals in the opener against Jackson State, and that led to a lot of wide open transition layups.
You want easy buckets, go ahead and get a steal and get out and run.
Easiest that it gets, as Hodgson is a little bit short of the triple, but that is such a focal point of what they want to do defensively. Bradley, all the way, rejected. Destiny Adams said, not today. A close game in the second quarter, and Destiny Adams makes her presence felt. Quite the swat to bookend the midway point of the second quarter. Neither side's been able to shoot the ball too well, but TCU, they have hit a handful of triples so far. 3
of them so far. Started with Getz over in the corner, and then they really started moving the ball well. I like that with a little bit of space, they take the 3, but this is the one that really was them at their peak during that run, the end of the first half. You had Fisher running the point, able to kick it out to Bradley, who was spotted up in transition.
They ended the first quarter on a 13-2 run. Carolina has since retaken the lead, but at this point of the game, I don't think there are many people out there who probably would have expected TCU to be within a point. 4:41 to go in the second.
Surprised at how much both teams have struggled offensively. They've caught the ball up. They haven't really shot at a high percentage. Both teams under 35 so far from the field.
Early season cobwebs, perhaps?
Absolutely, 100% just early season. No coach is going to be happy about it, but you got to kind of expect it a little bit.
Just the second game of the season for both of these teams. Both teams 1-0. UNC a big win over Jackson State. TCU took down Lipscomb. And turnover number 10 for TCU on the travel by Tomi Taiwo.
Another really good job of communicating defensively for the Tar Heels. Knowing where each other are on the court, when you need to switch, when you don't.
Carolina looking to crack the code of this 2-3 zone. Paris can do just that. And again, off the mark in a triple.
The Tar Heels have gotten the looks. They just haven't been able to knock them down.
Just 2 of 10 from distance. Bradley. Pull up is too strong. Rebound by Adams. Deja Kelly, who is 0 for 5. Tough pull up. That's what she can do.
That's what she does so well. The mid-range, you got to respect it. On the floor, she can pull up at any time.
7-0 run now for the Tar Heels. As you see, just 1 of 6. Deja Kelly, a preseason Naismith Award watch list selection. Deep 3 is well off from Tara Manumalayuga.
Not the shot you're looking for if you're the Horned Frogs. Gonna have to make some adjustments when they get in the locker room, find some ways to get some players flashing through the lane, just get some movement. They seem very stagnant to me on offense.
Well, you want lane presence, they'll bring in the 6'7" Patricia Morris. TCU has missed its last 8 field goals. Despite that, they only trail it by 3 against the 12th ranked team in the country. So they're playing some pretty good defense on their side of the floor as well.
Just what side of the coin do you want to look at? The good side or the bad?
Usby finds that soft spot of the zone and makes TCU pay 9 in a row for the Heels.
It's the good side of the coin for Carolina. When she's on the court, they're just a different team on both sides of the floor.
And again, a steal. It's number 4 for North Carolina. 2-on-1. Kelly to Usby. That dynamic duo gives the Tar Heels their largest lead of the game.
You gave that stat about under 20 minutes and all of the stats she accrued. 6 minutes of play, 8 points, couple of rebounds, a block as well for Usby.
So TCU will take a timeout. 2:51 to go in the second. North Carolina, a bit of breathing room here at Carmichael. 12th ranked North Carolina holds a 26-19 lead over TCU. Jon Gross, Kyle Straub, Natalie Bodie here at Carmichael Arena. The Heels with a 7-point lead in large part due to Alyssa Usby, who is one of those players who is on a minute restriction.
Yeah, played with Team USA 3-on-3 this summer. Just a lot of wear on the body, and Coach Banghart wants to be careful with her. She knows how key she is to them making that long run in March like they want to. But in the meantime, it gives some other players some opportunity, John, to get out on the court, get some experience, and integrate themselves with a team where come March, now you have some depth.
And you see Paulina Paris, who just traveled with it. That's somebody who Courtney Banghart did put on the floor due to some of these injuries and minute restrictions. We talked about it before, but Paris played 30 minutes in her college debut. And in large part just due to a lack of numbers.
And you know how big it is come the postseason. Now that's an easy push off there. Good sell by Kelly, but an easy one for the ref to pick up. But my point was, with guards specifically, backcourt play come the postseason, that dictates how far you're going to go. And you're going to need depth in case somebody gets hurt, in case you have foul trouble. Having a third player like Paulina to handle the ball, that'll be key for Carolina.
Usby on the kick out.
Underneath.
And 3-second violation. Another turnover for Carolina. So 23 combined turnovers for these two teams. Kyle, we're not even at halftime.
Yeah, it has definitely not been the cleanest game by any stretch of the imagination. And I think that's going to be a key message from both coaching staffs is we need to clean things up.
Godfrey just
great help defense. Oh, had a player right in front of her. She could have passed that one too.
And a hard foul underneath. It'll stay here. And Anya Poole is a bit shaken up.
And she's upset with the foul call there. Trying to box out. Got into the legs of Morris a little bit, and because Poole had her come down on her, I think that's where she felt. I didn't commit a foul. Why is that whistle going against me? But I think that's a good call from the ref, though.
Under 2 minutes to go in this first half. The scoring struggles continue for TCU.
Paris got beat right there by Godfrey. She just didn't keep the ball close to the body. Allowed Paris to reach around and knock it away.
Just 1 for 11 from the field in the second quarter are the Horned Frogs. Open look for Fisher, and she snaps the cold spell. Quickly in transition, Usby, tough shot. Usby up to 10 points in the second quarter.
See how well she runs the floor too. First player down court, first player back on defense.
And they'll run the floor once again. Numbers for the Heels. Great feed. Paris slays it in.
I'm telling you, this Carolina team with Usby on the floor is just different. And you see this run they're going on. It looks so much better, more appealing to the eye.
15-3 run for the Tar Heels, who have converted on 5 of their last 5. Taiwo jacks one up. And it'll head the other direction.
Points for Usby. She was the one who got back on defense, forced that miss, and you see her trailing just in case Paris isn't able to finish, but the freshman picks up her second bucket. Great running there by Carolina.
And how about the bounce pass from Eva Hodgson, who has now been thrusted into that 5th starting role after Carly Littlefield graduated, the only Tar Heel starter not back from last year, as Kelly works to the cup and comes up short. So TCU can hold for one final shot if they want to. Doesn't look like they do. Godfrey, a little shimmy in transition. Hodgson uses the screen. Hodgson denied. It's the 6'7" Morris. Shot is after the horn, but at the break, Carolina a 30-24 lead over TCU. I think a little bit closer than a lot of people would have expected at this point.
Yeah, a little bit closer than I think Carolina really wanted it to be. If you're TCU, you feel good going in that locker room, but both teams really need to clean up the turnovers.
A 6-point cushion for North Carolina. We will send it courtside to Natalie Bodie, who is joined by head coach Courtney Banghart.
Coach, your team erupted for points at the end of the half. What started working offensively?
You know, we shouldn't make a lot of shots in the first quarter there. We got good looks, just couldn't connect. It's a 40-minute game.
What'll be the message in the locker room to your squad?
Well, I think we got to be better in the gaps defensively to give us a little bit more opportunity to score. We have to play with better pace on the offensive end, regardless of what defense they're in.
Thanks, Coach. Best of luck.
Happy to do it. Thanks.
Guys.
Thanks, Coach, and thanks, Natalie. Carolina, a 6-point lead at the break. A couple of tough buckets, but it's Alyssa Usby who leads all scorers with 10. Halftime at Carmichael in this ACC versus Big 12 matchup. Halftime at Carmichael Arena. 12th-ranked North Carolina holds a 30-24 lead over the TCU Horned Frogs as we welcome you back into our broadcast. Jon Gross alongside Kyle Straub. Kyle, you have TCU, a team picked last in the preseason poll in the Big 12, against one of the top teams in the country, but this is still anybody's ball game at halftime.
The turnover is the ultimate equalizer. Really hard to score the ball when you're coughing it up. 25 turnovers between these two teams has kept it low enough scoring that TCU stayed in it despite having a really tough time scoring the ball.
Take a look back at some of the first half highlights, and we did see a couple three-pointers from the Horned Frogs.
Yeah, it was really the only thing they had consistently going for them. 4 of 12 from beyond the arc in that first half. 3 of them came in the first quarter. They did a good job of forcing the Carolina defense to collapse on the driver, kicking it out to the open ball handler. But Alyssa Usby on the other side is just so much to handle. A reason that she's on the Naismith watch list, preseason All-ACC. Leads the way with 10 points, and she's done it in just 9 minutes out on the court so far. Really versatile offensively, helps to get the Carolina break going with her defense, but also will get out and run and be rewarded on the other side of it.
Let's take a look at the first half stats in this matchup, and as you see, both offenses had some major issues shooting the basketball.
They did, and especially for Carolina beyond the arc, a team who's got multiple three-point shooters that can knock it down for over 35-40%, just 2 of 10 in that first half. I saw it change, though, as that second quarter went on, where they stopped shooting from distance and started attacking the basket a little bit more.
Let's send a courtside to Natalie Bodie with TCU head coach Reagan Peebley.
Coach, your team held the lead for most of the beginning of that first half. What did you like from your team?
Well, I think we came in here not to just participate in this game. We came to win, and we're worked really hard in this offseason and building a toughness about us and a collective toughness, and I'm proud of where we're at with that.
A lot of turnovers from both sides in that first half. How do you clean it up in the second?
Well, I think we got to be ready to be the aggressor, not responsive to a team being aggressive.
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah, thanks.
Guys.
Thanks, Natalie. And, well, North Carolina, one of just many teams expected to have top-notch seasons in the ACC. 5, count them, 5 teams in the preseason AP Top 25.
That's just the preseason. Who knows how the season will go, and teams that flow in and out. I think 6, 7, maybe even 8 different teams able to find themselves ranked throughout this season. You know, in the ACC, if you don't come to play, especially on the road, you're going to have a tough night.
And it's remarkable how many teams are considered contenders in this conference. As you look at some of the upcoming matchups for a couple of the top teams in the ACC. That Louisville at Belmont matchup should be interesting, but these teams should be able to come out of there with wins.
It's always interesting when you see a top-ranked team going on the road to one of the non-power Conference 5 teams. And going to Belmont is going to be a tough test for Louisville. I like challenging a team early. Listen, it's not college football. If you lose a game, you're not out of the running for the national championship.
That's for sure, but still early in the season. These teams looking to pick up some wins, pad those records, and here are some of the upcoming games on ACC Network. And as you see a couple inter-conference matchups and intra-conference matchup as well. I'm always a fan of the Palmetto State showdown, South Carolina versus Clemson, but wow, South Carolina is looking very good. Not a surprise, though.
Good luck to anybody that has to play the Gamecocks this year, but I'm with you. Those interstate games, even though it may not be a ranked versus ranked or even in conference, you get South Carolina, Clemson together, there's going to be some fireworks.
Absolutely will be. Remember a season ago, North Carolina had the closest game in South Carolina's national championship run. So both coaches rallying the troops. Kyle, what do you want to see from these two teams in the second half?
I think I'd like to see cleaner basketball. That's the real easy answer for Carolina. I want to see some continuity when Alyssa Utsby is not on the floor, because when she is, clearly they're a better team. But when she's not on the floor, who can step up and be that go-to player offensively for them? On TCU's side, I'd like to see them, like their coach just said, be a little bit more aggressive. They got the lead, they kind of sat back a little bit. Keep going, try and extend that lead.
Got a good look at Alyssa Utsby. 10 points in that first half. A remarkable 5 of 6 from fields. And as we kickstart the second half, 12th ranked North Carolina, TCU going at it and out of the gates. A nifty bounce pass and a wide open Anya Poole layup.
It's a really great play drawn up in the locker room. Kelly coming over to the corner, you're expecting a screen if you're the defender. Instead, she goes around you, forces the help defense, and an easy bucket for Poole.
Carolina again getting the passing lanes. Fisher able to recover. And she walked with it. Kyle, you kind of get the sense that the first few minutes of this third quarter can really dictate the rest of this game.
Yeah, if North Carolina can come out here, play efficiently, go on a run like they did towards the end of the first half, they can really build some separation between themselves and the Horned Frog. But the flip is, if TCU can find a way to go on a run like they did at the first quarter, they can get themselves right back into this. And you go into the fourth quarter in a close game, it's up in the air.
Utsby missed, but then drew the foul underneath. It's a personal on Bella Cravens.
Talked about the first half, how they're just different with her on the court versus off the court. Well, looked up some of the numbers. When Utsby is on the court, Carolina is outscoring TCU 25-8 with the 2 they scored in this half. When she's been on the bench, it's been the opposite. Just 7 for Carolina, 16 scored though for TCU.
That speaks volumes. The impact that she has is remarkable. That last foul was actually on Godfrey. Corner 3, Todd Williams. Her second made triple of the ball game. She had a career-high 20 points against Jackson State in the opener earlier this week. Was 3 of 6 from distance in that one.
Coach Banghart calls her the Scottie Pippen of this team. She can do anything they ask of her. You saw her play anywhere from the 1 to the 4 in the season opener.
She calls her the Scottie Pippen. She calls Destiny Adams the Dennis Rodman as Kelly gets to the hole and has her second made field goal of the afternoon.
23 is retired, so I don't think you can find a Jordan on the team. But, I mean, if they want to model themselves after the 90s Bulls, they had some success.
Just a little bit of success. Strong start out of the gates for Carolina. A 7-0 run to open up this third quarter. Cravens inside, off the mark. Her first field goal attempt of the season. Utsby from downtown. She's missed both of her field goals this half, but Poole is there, and Poole is whistled for the offensive.
Some energy there from Godfrey may get this TCU team going a little bit. Great rebound here from Poole. See her lower that shoulder. You already have the size mismatch. No need to add the little extra in there and get that call against you.
Evie Getz just re-entered for TCU at 5 points in the first half. She replaces Roxanne McCullough. Taiwo has some breathing room. Taiwo sinks it. TCU on the board in the third quarter.
A little better movement offensively there from TCU, and they got the mismatch with Poole on Taiwo.
Taiwo's first points of the afternoon. Nice look to Poole, unable to finish. Kelly whistled for the armbar. That's her second, team second of this third quarter. But Kelly's been a bit quiet so far. 4 points, 2 of 8 from the fields. Does have 5 assists, though.
And that's the big thing with her being in a position where she's going to be handling the ball more than she did last year. Got to find ways where you can contribute if the shot's not falling, because you're the way the offense is going to go.
Great ball movement, a miss from Fisher, but Cravens has it, and quickly as it ripped away by the aforementioned Kelly, who finds a running Usby through contact and will shoot 2.
Great touch on that pass over the top there from Kelly. Put it in, as they say in football, a spot where only the receiver is going to be able to get it. Just over the defender's head, and Usby, watch her with the fingertips, knock it down and then bring it in. Great job, and a couple of players who 3 years on the court together showing just a little bit.
Looking a bit like Drake May. Of course, both these football teams have some big matchups today, as Usby hits on the first.
Potential, I think it would be a hard way for it to happen, but a potential look at a college football playoff matchup?
It could happen. TCU still undefeated. Carolina just 1 loss.
Offensive rebound big there for Carolina. TCU had done a really good job, John, of not allowing the Tar Heels to get multiple opportunities, and they're going to have to get back to really boxing out, playing tough down low if they want to chip into this 11-point deficit.
Bella Cravens was just whistled for her 3rd foul, so we'll see how Reagan Peebley decides to play this. Cravens has 3, Getz has 3 as well for TCU.
That'll be something to monitor.
Todd Williams. Hodgson now inside for Poole. The spin, the drop step, the finish.
I love that. They went right after Cravens. You just picked up the 3rd foul. Let's go ahead and go right after you. And if you want to play rough, you get that 4th foul and have to go to the bench. Otherwise, easy bucket down low.
Nice move by Godfrey on the other end. She'll head to the free throw line for 2. 3rd team foul against the Tar Heels in this 3rd quarter.
Now, this is another thing that TCU did well in the 1st quarter, but got away from in the 2nd, and that was attacking the basket, drawing the foul against Carolina, and getting to the free throw line.
Alexandra Zelaya re-enters as Anya Poole heads to the bench. You see Poole left side of your screen. Exits with 8 points, 3 of 5 shooting, 6 rebounds, but now 4 fouls. First free throw was pure from Godfrey. She was the number 40 recruit in the class of 2021 per ESPNW. Went to Mississippi State where she played just 2 games. And then last year, mid-season, transferred to TCU, therefore had to sit out. And is in just her 2nd game as a Horned Frog.
It's her story, and I don't know the exact reason for the transfer, but her story, her situation is why I am in favor of the transfer portal. Listen, it's not going to work out every time, so allow the kids to go and, at one time, try and find a better situation for themselves.
I'm completely with you. It also allows coaches to retool quickly if they are short on numbers, like TCU was, entering this season. 6 transfer portal additions in the offseason for the Horned Frogs. One of them, Bella Cravens, who can't finish.
Got to have that finish if you're Cravens. Had a good look at the basket.
Bella Cravens was a pretty reliable starter at Nebraska. Averaged 6 and 6 in a couple of seasons there after spending time at Eastern Washington. And this time it's TCU getting the passing lanes. Taiwo coast to coast.
Great read from Taiwo. That's not a pass that Hodgson, who's being moved into a ball handler, point guard-esque role, not going to make that one again, that cross-court pass.
Press break to perfection, but Usby can't hit the jumper. And a loose ball foul goes against Carolina. That is the first on Usby in the 4th against the Tar Heels. So TCU in the bonus for the final 5:23 in this 3rd quarter. And after falling behind by double figures, they can now cut this back to single digits. You see eBay re-enters for TCU. eBay, another one of those transfers. Spent the last 2 seasons at Central Arkansas, where she averaged a double-double a season ago. Taiwo finds eBay. eBay could stick it. Somehow does not fall.
Battling down there, though. Because of that effort and hustle, they're going to keep possession.
It was eBay who followed her own miss.
Found herself in a tough situation deep under the basket once she had possession. But look at this. She's the only Horned Frog down there. 4 white jerseys. She's getting on the court before everybody else.
eBay at her third college. She was at Central Arkansas. Before that was at Collin College, a junior college where she was actually coached by Reagan Peebly's father. That's how Reagan Peebly knew about her. So when eBay entered the portal, it was a no-brainer. As Taiwo uncorks from distance, can't stick it. Again, a loose ball, and it's a held ball, possession arrow to TCU. 4:46 to go in the third quarter. The Tar Heels have a little bit more breathing room, but still anybody's ball game in this ACC versus Big 12 showdown. TCU had a bit of a rough go of it last season. 6-22 on the year. Kyle, preseason this year in the Big 12, they were picked to finish last, but Reagan Peebly is looking to turn around this program.
That COVID pause that they had last year across so many sports, you saw so many teams struggle coming back from it. It just wasn't easy to get going in the middle of a season like they had to. But you're right, complete overhaul of the roster. You bring in veteran transfers, and all of that doesn't matter because they weren't a part of the team last year. This is all brand new for them.
TCU will restart the action as Kelly has the steal on the inbounds. Deja Kelly up to 6 points. An 8th steal for the Tar Heels as Hodgson corrals the miss.
4 of those steals come from Kelly. We talk about offensively, not her normal self numbers-wise, but feeding other players, getting them set up, creating opportunities by causing turnovers and taking the ball away.
eBay called for the personal, her third, team fourth, but isn't that the mark of a great player, that they can contribute in so many ways?
100%, and it's the mark of a third-year player. I don't know that freshman Deja Kelly does what she does in this game if the offense isn't there.
A physical move. Alexandra Zelaya getting deep in the paint for the bucket.
Zelaya, another one of those juniors who came in that first big freshman recruiting class for Courtney Banghart, and may not be the big name, but she's going to have some key minutes down the stretch as well.
Largest lead of the game for the Heels, and they can add to that an offensive foul against Fisher. That's Fisher's second, team's fifth. So both teams in the bonus for the final 4 minutes of this third quarter.
We said we wanted to see both teams clean it up as far as the turnovers go. They absolutely have.
Well, on cue, it is a takeaway. Fisher unable to put it home. In transition, Todd Williams all the way.
When you don't make a bunny on one end, it turns into an easy bucket on the other.
Reagan Peebly talked about the small margin for error. They have to be careful with the room for error, and so far we've seen them make some mistakes as of late.
Instead of a 12-point lead and you having a little bit of momentum, it goes back the other way for an easy Kennedy Todd bucket, and it's a 16-point Carolina lead. Those are the little things that she's talking about, and ultimately TCU will look at this game, and I think they'll learn from those little things. They'll be different towards the end of the year for them.
Well, what an opportunity this is for TCU. So many new players, and they get a chance to go against one of the top teams in America. Gets, spins, leaves it off. eBay, again a missed layup. Fisher, open. She can't put it home. Nothing going for the Horned Frogs. And the loose ball ends up with Todd Williams.
They're giving it their all. They're battling. They just can't find a way to get it to drop.
Count the basket. Kennedy Todd Williams, the and one.
Talk about Alyssa Utsby being a difference maker. So is Kennedy Todd Williams. 12 points from her, 4 of 7 shooting. The ability to take it up the court like a guard, but finish strong through some contact like a forward.
Todd Williams now with 12 points in double figures for the 16th time in her last 19 games. As the follow is put home by Destiny Adams.
Carolina is starting to impose their will on TCU now. Second time they've had a run of 3+ minutes TCU has where they haven't scored the ball.
Nearly another turnover. Open look for Getz. No. And Kelly has the miss. 5 rebounds for Kelly. She has 6 points, 5 boards, 7 assists.
Illegal screen on Adams. She's still moving.
Second on Adams.
It's a timing thing. Early in the year, not quite on the same page.
Remember, last year was limited action for Destiny Adams, but highly talented recruit coming out of high school. Courtney Banghart says she has made a huge jump from last year to this year.
There were times last year, if you watched Carolina, when she would be on the court where you would see flashes of why she was such a highly touted recruit, but also a little bit of a deer in the headlights. Not quite ready for D1 basketball, but they really like where she is at and the work she's put in the offseason.
TCU's 19th turnover. They only had 11 turnovers against Lipscomb in the opener. They also had 14 assists to go with that. Obviously a different team in North Carolina compared to Lipscomb, but still, these issues have been a major reason why they're now down 20. As Kelly knocks it down and the foul.
Personal foul called number 15, Faith Bradley. Her second to the line to complete the three-point play.
Because of the mid-range jumper before, you've got to honor it. Nice little behind the back to create the separation.
So one shot for Kelly. Up to 8 points, make that 9.
Timeout, TCU.
And Reagan Peebley wants to talk things over. A couple of 1-0 squads, but a big third quarter for the Heels. They're plus 17 in this frame alone. Back after this on ACC Network Extra. After a relatively quiet first half, Deja Kelly has come up big in this third quarter.
She left the season opener in the third quarter, rolled her ankle. I think she's doing okay. 9 points, 5 assists. She's also tipped in, it's 7 assists, 5 rebounds, and 4 steals. Flirting with that triple-double. I don't know if she'll have quite enough floor time. See how the rest of this one goes.
Natalie Bodie has more on the star junior.
Interestingly enough, guys, UNC was one of the last schools that Deja Kelly spoke to. She was even hesitant to talk with the Heels, but her mom knew Coach Banghart. She decided conversation wouldn't hurt, and after that conversation, she said that she didn't want to impact just a team, she wanted to impact a program, and ultimately, that's what led her to Carolina.
It's a great story, and she was a highly touted recruit. She detailed her journey earlier this week in an article that she penned to the Players Tribune. She talked about how she started playing at the age of 3 at a church league, was the only girl in her team, and her first basket, she made it in the wrong basket. And that was the start of her hoops career, as Paris rims out of the triple. Adams is there, lays it in.
Does it matter what basket you make it in 3rd grade, as long as you're making it in a basket?
I don't think so. At that point, you're just happy to put it in. Layup off the mark. She made a goal board as well in 3rd grade. Listed 3 goals. She wanted to be a McDonald's All-American, get a college offer, and then play in the WNBA. She's achieved the first 2, and the 3rd one seems to be in her future as well.
The 3rd one is coming. Whether
Yes.
it's after this year or next year, she'll make that decision, but it is in her near future, though.
Bradley whistled for the personal.
the fouls and the rebound disparity really starting to pile up on TCU. 36-22 total rebound to Carolina.
Kelly sinks on the first, now up to 10 points. Both teams in the bonus for the rest of this quarter. This is the largest lead of the game for North Carolina.
Into the game for the Tar Heels, number 10.
Eva Hodgson will re-enter. She replaces Deja Kelly. 11 points, 7 assists, 5 rebounds, and she's gotten the job done defensively as well.
She has, and as you see her go down the line, slap hands with teammates, 3 of them in street clothes on the end of the bench. All 3 possibly going to be back for Carolina this year. They will be big keys if they can get that depth.
We look at the Tiani Keys, the Kayla McPhersons of the world.
Key, a really, really highly touted recruit last year in the quote-unquote secret scrimmage that teams have against South Carolina, is where she got the injury, but reportedly before that, the Gamecocks, who won the national title, had no answer for her.
Carolina can hold for the final shot of what has been a fruitful third quarter. A 27-6 edge in this quarter alone. The same edge they had in the fourth quarter against TCU last year. Todd Williams, deep 3, off the mark, buzzer beater triple. No good from Adams, and we will head to the fourth quarter. A comfortable lead, an emphatic performance in this third quarter. 27-point edge for the Heels at Carmichael Arena.